Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Season. I'm Tyler, and this is where we talk about all sorts of animation, all different kinds. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about some Attack on Titan, Season 3. We are close. We're close to the end here. It's funny, I started Attack on Titan very recently, and I wasn't actually sure if I was going to burn through all of it before the end of Season 4, which we're seeming is the last season. Season 4 Part 2 is airing right now. It's called the final season. There are rumors, though. I've just seen of people being like, no, there's actually going to be a Part 3. Because of, like, the pace that they're covering the manga. It doesn't feel like they're going to be able to cover all of it with just the rest of Part 2. I don't know. If that's the case, I actually have a lot more time than I thought, but it's okay because this show is incredible. So we're talking about Part 3 today. Both Part 1 and 2 of Part 3, or of Season 3, because Season 3 aired in 2 parts for some reason, but I decided to do them all together. And yeah, we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about the choice that Levi made, with Armin over Erwin. And then I want to talk about the Marley versus the Eldians, because that is a huge thing that was pretty much introduced this season. And how that is really what the crux of the entire show is about, something that you would have never guessed back in Season 1. And then obviously some Season 4 predictions, you know what I mean? But yeah, before we get into that, make sure to go to the Tiger T YouTube channel, as well as other podcast services for more episodes. And yeah, so let us get into the actual thing. Like I said, let's talk about the choice that Levi made. Probably both in the anime and outside of the anime, one of the most, controversial, just moments, choices that have ever been made in this show. So he chose Armin, he chose to turn Armin into the Titan instead of Erwin. Interesting, I do want to go through some of the key points that have happened in this, especially the second half of the season, that kind of led up to this decision. Just to kind of give some perspective on this, to remind everyone out there as well of some perspective, as to what was building towards this, and then even the stuff that Levi took into account. First off, we have Armin, who is useful. He's not just some dude. He was the one who thought of searching the walls for the hiding spots. No one else thought of that. No one else knew. Even the Titans in the walls weren't really public knowledge. I don't remember how many Survey Corps even knew about that or remembered it. But he was the one. He was the one that did that, was able to help prevent a chunk of the ambush because of that. So that's huge. Him using his brain. I think we'll all agree, both the characters in the anime would agree with that, and the people watching the show, that Armin's greatest strength is his mind. He always thinks outside the box, and he thinks things through completely. But then we swing back over to Erwin, who decided to use Eren as bait to stall Reiner. This is huge, this was something that they didn't really want to do. But then you think back, or you actually see it being executed, and you see that even Reina was like, I know what they're doing. I know they're using him as bait. I know they want me to follow him so that I can't just go over and take out all their horses. But it works anyway, because at the end of the day, no matter, even if it's bait, this is still your objective. Your objective is still to take Eren alive and to capture him. That was really the whole reason for all of this. So he does it. So Erwin, chalk one up for him. We swing back to Armin, who attempts to negotiate with Bertholdt, and he's crippled by indecision. So this is more so even like a negative towards Armin. The negotiation wasn't a bad plan on paper, but it doesn't work. I mean, a previous version of Berthold may have fallen for this, and this may have worked more towards the Survey Corps' favor, but it's not working now. And now he even breaks down even more from a leader, and he gives Jean, I think it's John, right? Or it's John, right? It doesn't matter. He gives their other friend his command or whatever, because he just fallen apart. So that's a point where it's like, Armin, great mind, but he's not really good at making quick decisions. We swing back over to Erwin, who suggests leading a sacrificial attack against the Beast Titan. Again, a wild plan, and one that, Levi, I'm sure other people don't really want to happen, because they want Erwin, they need him. But it's really the only thing that would work to get the Beast Titan's attention and to distract him and everyone else long enough for Levi to make his attack. So again, Erwin showing that he will literally put his life on the line, not just in the way that everyone else is by, going out and fighting Titans each and every day, but him actually riding to his death, knowingly, so that they can, take out the Beast Titan. But when it all comes down to it, because, I can't really name every single amazing thing that Erwin has done, or every single amazing thing that Armin has done. But those are just a few things that have happened in the in the second half of the season. Especially with that scene, or that that one encounter where they were getting ambushed by the Beast Titan. So leading up to it, we eventually get to the point where Armin burns himself alive on Berthold, so Eren can harden himself, then rip Berthold out of the Colossal Titan. So again, one last thing that Armin does, one last thing to prove that he is outsmarting everyone, is that he learns that, obviously we have the heat that burst out of the Colossal Titan, right? That was the thing that made their gear useless. So he used that knowledge, and he used just some intuition as well, to know that the heat or whatever, it doesn't burst out of their bones, right? Which includes the teeth. So him latching onto the Colossal Titan's teeth makes it so his gear doesn't get ripped out. If you get in the shoulder or the chest or something like that, that's all muscle fibers. That's where the heat would be expelled from. So very smart there. And even again, I just talked about how Erwin was sacrificing himself. Armin is doing the same thing, but on the other side of the wall. Armin is sacrificing himself, giving Eren enough time to do two things. One, to harden himself, to trap or to clog up Wall Maria, which is a huge win. And then two, even the hardening of the Titan is like a second distraction for the Colossal Titan, so that Eren in human form rips out of his hardened Titan and is able to rip Berthold out of his Titan form, and then boom, we got him. Because up to this point, I mean, other than the Beast Titan, I guess, the Colossal Titan is their biggest threat. I mean, the Armor Titan, Reyna, obviously huge threat there, but Eren by himself, when they encountered each other the first time, Eren won. Eren beat him, and then Eren was able to beat him this time too, because of even more training, not only in his combat skills, but with him learning to somewhat master his own hardening ability. So this Colossal Titan is a huge win for them, and again, burned him alive. So that all leads to the decision itself, right? Obviously, we know Levi wants to save Erwin. It not only makes sense from a tactical perspective, but also from an emotional one too, of his own connection to Erwin. But and then we have a little back and forth. Obviously, Eren and Mikasa, they both have their own qualms with it. They even attack Levi, which is a big no-no. But in the end, Levi decides that Erwin deserves peace. He deserves to rest in peace, literally, because Erwin has spent his entire life through pain, and yes, Levi wanted to help him reach his goal of seeing what was in the basement. But at the end of the day, he's like, Erwin also half concocted this plan so that he can die for humanity, taking out the Titans and everything. So he wanted this, so just to rip him out of that and bring him back to this world, it's not fair to him, so he ends up saving Armin instead, which again, we get to the divisiveness of it, where Erwin is the leader. Erwin has, it is the main reason as to what brought them this far. Everyone looks up to Erwin. Everyone looks to him for leadership and these plans and these, all that stuff. So I get it. I think from a story perspective, obviously he had to save Armin. But also Armin isn't just like chopped liver either. Like Armin, again, the few things I just mentioned, very smart, very clever, was able to help not succeed. Well, yes, succeed, but more so like seal the win. But he's done other stuff in the past too. He was able to almost talk his way out of them not killing Eren when, remember when they first found out that Eren could turn into a Titan, they thought he was a Titan in disguise, right? And Armin was very, very close to talking his way out of that. He's come up with plans before. Armin is like a little Erwin. I don't think he's quite there yet, because he has so much more to experience. But I don't think that Armin was just some random soldier that they saved. He is useful. We do need him. But yeah, I'm interested to see how that that ripple effect. We see a little bit of it throughout the rest of season 3, where it's like, people criticizing the decision and even pointing out that Levi let his own emotions get in the way, because obviously we accuse Eren and Mikasa from that happening because Armin is a childhood friend. But we also point out that Levi, because of his relationship with Erwin, because he decided that his friend or his mentor or whoever, whatever he considers Erwin, doesn't deserve to go through any more pain. He doesn't deserve this anymore. He deserves to be done. So someone who wasn't as close to Erwin may not have seen that, may not have cared about that, and they would have just revived him. So emotions getting in the way of even someone like Levi. So we'll see how much that goes into the last season. I'm sure it'll play some effect. But at the end of the day, what's done is done. You can keep criticizing Levi as much as you want. You can criticize Eren and Mikasa. You can criticize the other friends who just stood by. But there's nothing we can do to change, to turn back time. There's nothing that could be done. Then the other thing I wanted to touch on was Marley versus the Eldians. There's a lot of story here. I'm not going to really recap it, but this was huge. This was a huge reveal for this season. We finally know what's beyond the walls. We know about these other humans, other people, this other society. It's almost like a separate civilization that we've spawned from. It's huge, but just some things I want to touch on. Grisha is he's taken to be turned into a Titan. That was big. That was after the whole, we get the whole backstory and his whole his like what's it called? His like group, like revolution. He's trying to start here with his people, and about how the Marley, the state and all that have treated the Eldians unfairly. What's the word? Revisionist history, that's been going on, and how the Marley have just been trying to suppress the Eldians literally forever. Which I never quite understood that. Maybe I'm missing a detail here, but like, if I was Marley and I had these ideals, which I think are wrong, this is very much like the essence of like Hitler, basically. Of like, oh, there's just these people that we feel are wrong, and so we have to exterminate them. That's pretty much what this Attack on Titan dynamic is right here between these groups of people, basically. So it's very wrong. Me personally feel like it's very wrong. But if I was of this belief that Eldians were less than humans, why don't we just kill them all? You know, like, wouldn't that solve everything? Like, are they trying to save face? You know, I don't know. I feel like if they really truly believe this, like, why haven't they gone the very blatant, like, Hitler route? You know, because now you just have people that are wrecking your entire everything, you know, on a daily basis, that you're constantly, I mean, I don't know, I guess they need them. I guess it's that other thing, that other dynamic where they can't just get rid of them all, because they actually use the Eldians for, like, all the labor that they themselves don't want to do, you know, because then now it's getting into, like, United States history, like slavery type dynamic, where it's like, well, we're not going to kill all of these people because they're the ones who do our labor, you know. So I guess maybe that's kind of a mix of that right there. You know, they're not quite, the Eldians aren't quite working in plantations, but they are very much being used, because we didn't need them. Speaking of Marley, we would just get rid of them all. But anyway, we move on a little bit later to Dina, who is turned into the Titan that devours Eren's mother. I feel like that's huge, because a sorta kinda relative of Eren's is the Titan who killed his own actual mother. Like, that crazy twist. Would have never seen it coming. It's crazy because, like, if Grisha knew that, like, that would break his brain, you know. But that's such a cool way for them to tie other stuff together. It didn't need to be tied together, you know. I feel like that there was a way that they could have not made that true and still, like, been impactful. But the fact that they were able to tie in, like, oh, Grisha, who is he's Eren's dad, right? Am I misremembering this? Eren's dad's ex-wife, basically, from another life, literally, is the human who turned into a Titan that killed his birth mother. Like, that's such a wild web of, like, events, you know. Kruger reveals to be the Owl and a Titan, and then he annihilates the public safety soldier. So that was a big thing too, that we have people there that are infiltrated into this, you know, some sort of the government, you know. We do have people that are still fighting. It's not bleak. It's not like this moment where Grisha and all of his companions that are trying to fight this fight are being turned into Titans. It's not over. You know, there are still people out there that are hiding, maybe not acting as blatantly as Grisha and his people were, but we are still here and we are still trying to turn the tides. So very big there. A little bit away from the flashback, but still within this whole Marley vs. Eldian stuff. Eren thinks he was only able to control other Titans because he touched Dina's pure Titan form. So that's another big element to all this, where you know, because we've been trying to see more and more of Eren's abilities, because we feel like he is the true Titan. He has that like serum in him or whatever, like that is him. So there's more stuff that he's supposed to do. Of course, there is the back knowledge that he is not of royal blood, so it's normally only people with royal blood can have the full powers of this true Titan. But he was able to control them once, so it sparks in his mind that he feels like the only way he can do that is when he is able to make contact with a pure Titan. That's another very clever way, because me personally, I don't know how everyone else felt, but in that moment when he did do that, I just thought there was some weird connection, like, you know, like the power of friendship. You know how that happens in many shonen anime, that you know the protagonist just wins through friendship. I feel like that's kind of what happened there when I originally watched it, you know, because that was the Titan that killed his mom. So it's like, oh, the emotions are raging, you know, when he was able to physically fight back, even though it was very bleak, because he's a human. That's what was able to, you know, unlock something in him and use the power. But now we're on the notion that it's because Dina was a pure Titan. So he needs to make contact with that. If I were to take it a step further, maybe he doesn't have to touch the Titan when he's in the Titan form. Maybe if he just has someone of pure blood, he like held hands with someone, like maybe if he held hands with Historia or something, like not necessarily Historia in a Titan form, just Historia, maybe that would do it as well. I mean, because him having to use those powers while making contact with a pure Titan, I feel like very dangerous. So I'm wondering how they're gonna write that in a way that is actually effective, in the heat of battle or whatever. Then also, along with the same thread, Historia reveals to the public the secret of Titans and that Marley is planning on invading. All that stuff we've seen so far with the Beast Titans and all that. This is Marley. Hey, here's what Marley is. Here's what the Titans really are. Basically just giving out all the knowledge, which is tough. I mean, you imagine if something to that size was able to hit us today. Many would call it a conspiracy, but a lot of people, rational people, would connect the dots and, be scared, of course, because this is a very scary thing. But me personally, I feel like that this was the right move to let everyone know, because for years, for decades, everything, like, this whole thing is built upon how whenever a new pure Titan would come to form, the old king's ways would happen, and then they would just make literally everyone forget everything about Titans. So that's just a rinse and repeat for the past however many years, 100 years or whatever. And so finally we're breaking that cycle. I'm like, no, not everyone knows. Everyone knows everything, or at least everything they need to know. And now we can break the wheel, right? Wasn't that wasn't that a quote from Daenerys from Game of Thrones? Isn't that her big thing? Her, like she's gonna break the wheel. That's what we're trying to do here. Survey Corps finds the ocean, which is huge. Another visible win. But I really like how they framed it, where Eren doesn't see this as a win. He's not like, oh, this is freedom, we're here, we know so much, we're on an island and there's people and all that stuff. Like, Eren is just like, there's just more enemies. Now we know that across this ocean there's the big bad guys, the puppeteer of the puppeteers. So hopefully, he has this thing where he's like, oh, if we finally get them, will we finally be free? And it's a good question. I think that's very much where the show is going towards, the season 4 being the final season. This is the, going against Marley, going against their ideals, and this is going to be the final battle, because when we move into this final segment here, where I'm going to talk about some season 4 stuff, it's pretty much all out war at this point. There is no more hiding, there is no more, I mean, of course there's going to be planning and strategies and everything, but like, to me, I don't know that there's going to be any more mystery to this show, which is what I loved about it for the first 3 seasons. It's not just humans in a wall fighting Titans, these monsters that just exist in the world. Like, there was so much more layers built upon it to bring this show to the next level and make it something that leaves a mark in this culture, right? But to me, I don't think season 4 is going to have too many more secrets. I think there'll be reveals and stuff, but I feel like at this point, everything's kind of laid out on the table, where we know who the sides are, we know what everyone's goals are, for the most part, and there's going to be a lot of decisions that have to be made, but it is us versus them at this point. Like we know about you guys now. We know that we're not the last humans. We know that there's life outside these walls. We know that we're on an island and there's an ocean and there's other people. Like, when it zooms out, it's literally like Madagascar versus Africa, where it's like, we are in Madagascar. Madagascar is cool and all that, but Madagascar, exponentially a smaller piece of land than Africa, So like, we know there is so much more out there that has been hidden from us because we are literally like rats in a cage. But that's not fair to us, and we know now, we have the knowledge, and we are here to not really take what's ours, because I don't feel like that's true, but to, like, we're equals, like, we're humans just like you, and what else did I want to say? Some more things. I do want to see what was more of what was in those books. I mean, unless, like, because there's 3 books, right? Was, like, Grisha's story and, like, Marley vs. Eldians, was that what was only in those books? Was that it, or was there more? Because if that was it, then I retract that, and I guess we know everything now. But I felt like there was more to be seen rather than like the whole Eldian stuff. Huge, right? I'm not saying that's not impactful to the show and like that. I mean, that is the last piece of the puzzle that our heroes need, to try to end the show. But like, was there more? I don't know. I thought there was more than that, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll see more details, more specifics in the next season. Also, something I didn't write down, I just remembered, so let me say it before I forget. Annie. We haven't seen her since she was put into like crystal or whatever. I assume we're gonna see her at some point. We haven't seen her since. It's gonna be very jarring when she wakes up, and I'm sure we're gonna tell her a bunch of stuff. So we'll see how that works. Armin has a lot to live up to. Yeah, I wrote that because like it's true. He has a lot to live up to. He's not necessarily replacing Erwin, but people are gonna look at it that way. And so he's definitely going to be an essential key figure in this climax of this story. So I'm interested to see what he's going to concoct. Are we going to see some naval warfare? Because that's a thing. Like, ocean being a thing, is so big to just these people. Or are we just going to breeze by it? We don't have ships, I don't think, because we never really needed them. I'm sure we could build them. I don't know if any sort of like time skips are going to happen between now and when we start the 4th season, but like, are we going to see some sort of naval warfare? Or are we just going to see ships? We're just going to go there. It's going to be maybe an episode and then we're going to be there. Or maybe are we going to wait for them to come to us so we can do it on our home turf? I don't know. But naval warfare would be cool, especially since that's not something that everyone ever thought would happen in a show like this. Especially with Titans too, like how's that gonna work? And then I think just a very easy prediction, but I am predicting a bittersweet ending. I don't know that the show's gonna end all happy. With everyone getting what they want and everything's cool and our people are free and everything like that. Like, I think, not necessarily the ending of Game of Thrones, but just Game of Thrones in general, I feel like we're going to have a lot of similar vibes where I think a lot of people are going to die. Because I feel like in this show, for the first 3 seasons so far, they don't play around with death. You know what I mean? Like, there's left and right, people get destroyed in this show. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Maybe even more main characters dying. But I do feel like this show will end in a way that's like, heroes win because that's what they do. But I think there's going to be a lot of sadness, and it's going to be a very, very dark, but we will see, because that's everything. That's everything I wanted to talk about with season 3 today. Very, very good show. Like I said, like, this is incredible. I'm very, very excited to watch season 4. Now that I've talked to you all about it, now I can watch it. That's probably what I'll do over the next few days. Yeah, please let me know what you thought of season 3. Your prediction for season 4. I'm sure many people out there have already started watching it. They're already ahead of me. But if you aren't, if you're watching or listening to this after the fact, let me know what your season 4 predictions are. And also, another thing, I don't usually do extra like questions and stuff, but do you think Levi made the right choice? I'm not talking about like, not necessarily like if you were Levi, who would you choose? I'm not really asking it that way. Just more so like, do you think that was the right choice? Like, I think it's easy to say yes because Armin is part of our main friend group here. It's like, oh, he's a main character. He has to live. But like, was it the right choice? No matter how good Armin is, would Erwin, taking the emotions out of it, would Erwin have been a better choice? Would he, because he has more experience with these kind of things. And even with all the amazing things Armin has done, Erwin has done more. He's been around longer. He's the reason why the Survey Corps is still together. Like, I don't know. Putting emotions into it, Armin was the right choice. But like taking them out and just looking at it from purely like strategic and like, this is war. I don't know. But let me know. And then yeah, that's it. that's it. Like I said, make sure to go to Tiger T YouTube for more episodes. Also, other podcast services for more episodes. Yeah, until next time, make sure to watch season 4, the final season. We're still in the middle of it, so it's not quite over yet, but I'm going to catch up as soon as possible. And then also let me know what other anime or cartoons, movies, all that stuff you want me to cover on you.